Oh, the 90s. It was a time of Pogs, Nicktoons, Saved by the Bell, Big Nerdy with Hair, and of course, comic books. Thanks to a speculator-filled market, many of the comic books that were bought in droves back in the 90s are virtually worthless thanks to an abundant supply. Looking at you, Death of Superman. Looking at you, Spawn number 1. While many of these are worthless, some are quite valuable. In fact, the ones that are most sought after today, in many cases, were completely overlooked back in the 90s. Of course, some of the ones you expect to be there are going to be there, but for me in particular, they did not land where I expected them to. In other words, you might have them sitting in a long box somewhere, like a storage unit, your mom's attic, or Hangar 51, which is where Indiana Jones stashed the Ark of the Covenant. Folks, it's time to count down the rarest, most expensive, and most valuable comic books from the 90s. What's going on, everybody? My name's Matt, sometimes called Big Nerdy, and this is Nerdzoic! I did not include variants in the countdown, so you will not be seeing the Nabisco Mail-Away Wolverine number 145 that goes for $1,500. And you won't be seeing the Spawn number 1 manufacturing error that goes for about $6,700. I also didn't include any reprints, so you won't be seeing the Marvel Collectible Classic Spider-Mans numbers 1 and 2, which are reprints of Amazing Spider-Man number 1 and number 300 respectively. A few comics that just missed the top 10 but I wanted to mention because they're notable. First off, Silver Surfer number 44. This is the first appearance of the Infinity Gauntlet. A 9.8 averages about $275. Preacher number 1, a 9.8 fetches about $293. And Vengeance of Bane number 1, which is the first appearance of Bane, goes for about $295, and I honestly thought this one would be a little bit higher. Maybe it was wishful thinking because I have a raw copy, I don't know. Alright, let's officially get to the top 10. Coming in at number 10 is New Mutants number 87, published by Marvel in 1990. This was written by Louise Simonson and features the first full appearance of Cable. A graded 9.8 copy of New Mutants 87 goes for an average of $436, and there are 2,123 9.8s in the total population. While $436 is the average, sales do range anywhere between $240 and $790. A raw copy can be had for about $120. Coming in at number 9 is Uncanny X-Men number 266, released by Marvel in 1990. This was written by Chris Claremont and features the second appearance and the first cover appearance of Gambit, the Cajun X-Men who likes to throw his poker cards at people. 9.8s of this book sell for about $594 on average, ranging between $348 to $1,450. There's about 3,200, well, there's not about, there's exactly 3,269 of these in existence graded at the 9.8, and a raw copy sells for about $289. Coming in at number 8 is Harbinger number 1, released in 1992 by Valiant Comics and written by Jim Shooter. It features the first appearance of Peter Stanchek, the Egg Breakers, and the first team appearance of the Renegades. This is the first book on this list that's a surprise to me. I did not see this one coming. I expected a lot of these, but not this one. In order for this issue to be considered complete, it needs to have the mail-away coupon on the interior of the book for Harbinger number 0, which is a pink variant cover. Without that coupon, this book isn't complete. One of the possible reasons this book is going for as much as it is because Sony acquired the rights to make a film of it in September of 2019. You can sell a 9.8 graded copy of this for about $647 on average, but the range is anywhere between $550 and $830. There's only 504 of these in the population. Raw copies you can sell for about $75. But again, gotta have that coupon. I'll tell you now, if I had this book as a kid, my grandmother would have literally ripped the coupon out, put it in her cigarette box of coupons, just because I swear that woman collected coupons. Is this just like an Italian grandmother thing, or is my grandmother just crazy? Coming in at number 7 is DC Elseworlds number 1, released in 1999 by a bunch of different writers. This was released by DC, obviously. I had never heard of this book before I started doing research for this video, so this one caught me completely by surprise. After some of the content was deemed unsuitable, all copies intended for North America were destroyed. However, some of the copies had already been shipped to Europe and were distributed there. So that is what our entire amount of Elseworlds comics are. It's the ones that were shipped to Europe, and the rest were destroyed. The comic was recalled due to a Superman's babysitter storyline where somehow a super baby finds its way into a microwave. Okay, I don't really totally understand how that's a good story, but it doesn't seem that bad. I mean, it's a super baby, so unless it's a kryptonite microwave, what's the big deal? Maybe it makes it more powerful. Good luck finding a 9.8 graded copy of this. In the entire world, there's only 30 in known existence, which is one of the lowest numbers on this particular countdown. On average, this book sells for about $663 in that 9.8. It's really hard to give a number to it though, since none have been sold since 2018, when 2 were sold, and the range is really wide, $420 to $905. Raw, you can sell these for about $160, but again, there's not much to go off of here. There's only been 11 sales in the past 3 years. Coming in at number 6 is Amazing Spider-Man number 361. Released by Marvel in 1992, this is the first full appearance of Carnage, one of the race of extraterrestrial parasites known as the symbiotes. Carnage is of course an offspring of Venom, and he'll be making his big screen debut in Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. What kind of a name is that? However, he is being played by Woody Harrelson, so that should be pretty interesting. Despite being really expensive and valuable, it's not particularly rare. There's 4,822 9.8 copies in the world. They sell for an average of $835. They range anywhere between $441 to $1,475, and you can sell a raw copy for about $270. Coming in at number 5 is Malibu Sun number 13, released in 1992, written by Todd McFarlane. This was distributed by Malibu Comics. This one, again, took me completely by surprise because I had never heard of it. The reason this book is important because there's a cover appearance and interior images of Spawn. This book is extremely rare. There's only 51 of these graded at a 9.8. It goes for $843 on average, but that again is a really hard number to kind of average because there's only been 3 sales in the past 3 years. Those sales ranged anywhere between $750 to $979, with the raw copies going for about $450. Coming in at number 4 is New Mutants number 98, created by Rob Liefeld in 1991 and released by Marvel. This one I expected to be even higher on the list. This is a big one. This featured the first appearance of Deadpool. One of the reasons this one is so valuable, obviously Deadpool, but also this is a great example of supply and demand. There's a lot of copies of 9.8s, but good luck finding one for sale on eBay. Most people are holding these in their personal collections, either as an investment or because they love Deadpool. On average, 9.8s sell between $680 to $3,400, averaging about $1,500. The total population in 9.8s is 3,944, and raw copies go for about $1.50. Not $1.50, $1.50. Coming in at number 3 is The Goon, number 1, released in 1999 by Eric Powell. It's published by Avatar Press, and again, completely shocked me. This is one of the ones I did not expect to be anywhere on this list. I have never read this, so I have no idea if it's any good, and I don't know that much about it. In fact, when I think of The Goon, I think of the wrestler who used to wrestle in the early 90s, who was like the hockey player. The Goon. There's not that many 9.8 copies of these in existence. They sell for anywhere between $1,148 to $2,100, with an average of about $1,659. Raw copies go for about $285. Coming in at number 2 is Batman Adventures number 12 by Kelly Puckett, released by DC Comics in 1993. This one is the one I expected to be number 1, but it's not. This is the first appearance of Harley Quinn. A 9.8 copy, which there's only 942 of by the way, sells for about $2,000 on average, but it ranges anywhere between $1,200 and $3,500. Raw copies of this even go for about $733. Coming in at number 1 is a complete surprise, and it is Bone number 1, released by Jeff Smith and Cartoon Books in 1991. Bone previously appeared in the comic strips of the Ohio State University newspaper known as The Lantern, which was collected into a trade paperback called Thorn, Tales from the Lantern. Here are the crazy numbers on this. There's only 24 9.8 graded versions of this in existence. Those 9.8 sell anywhere between $4,600 and $13,000, averaging about $8,700, but there's not much to average it on. There's only 4 sales. Raw copies even fetch over $1,000. If you enjoyed this video, then I want you to check out this video up here, where I go over the best comic book movie castings of all time. I think you're going to find it pretty interesting because some of my takes, they're pretty hot. Till next time, be cool, stay nerdy. Later!